Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the podcast.
Hello, everyone. Today we're talking about another thrilling TikTok trend. We're going to be talking about cortisol face and cortisol tummy. If you're anywhere on, I guess, like the wellness space online, you might have seen this. Hopefully not, but we're
Hopefully
going to
not.
be talking about it. Before we get into it, though, make sure you subscribe to the YouTube. If you haven't already, what are you doing? And then we still have our exclusive content available over on Spotify, where we're much more chill and fun and less serious over there. And since we will be talking about, if you didn't get from the name, like cortisol face and cortisol tummy, a lot of body image chat and talk. So very strong trigger warning of eating disorders. We will be discussing weight. So if that's a topic that is not safe for you, please do not listen and skip this episode, and we'll catch you next week.
Okay. Cortisol. I feel like it's like a bad word. Like you hear cortisol in the wellness space and it's like, oh, what did you just say? Gotta censor that kind of stuff.
Yeah, yeah. I will
Ugh.
note, this will come up as we talk about this more, but my last job, I did a lot of cortisol management. So
Oh.
I feel very confident in this
Ooh, okay. I forgot
topic.
about that. Okay. Well, first things
I try to
first.
forget.
Yeah, I'm sure. The TikTok trend, as we kind of alluded to, the biggest thing they're saying, you may have seen like the catchphrase or the what do they call that? Like the grabbing line, the hook. That's the word. They say, "You're not ugly. You just have cortisol face. You're not fat. You just have cortisol tummy." I'll include a video in editing so you guys know what we're talking about. Although, do you really want to see that? Probably not. But just so we're all on the
Yeah.
same page.
You are not ugly, you just have cortisol face, and lowering your cortisol levels is literally the easiest way to have a glow up. I'm talking face snatched, waist snatched, no longer worrying about the little things that used to stress you out, feeling refreshed in the morning, and the best part, I don't crave sweets after a meal anymore. And this is formulated to help reduce your cortisol levels. This has ashwagandha, L-theanine, vitamin D3, and magnesium glycinate. And it literally tastes like raspberry lemonade with no other BS ingredients in it. These packets have been going crazy viral on TikTok, so if you see the orange shopping cart down there, that means they're still available, and I highly recommend grabbing some before they sell out.
So basically, what's happening is they're saying if you have a face that looks like this, there's also a lot of like comparison photos too. I'll include one of those also. They're like, I took this supplement and my face went from this because of cortisol to this now that I have less cortisol. Claiming the supplement is just changing how their entire face and
Your
body
hormone
looks.
regulation. That's crazy.
It's like just a fruity flavored powder with like some different vitamins in it, is pretty much all it
Yeah.
is.
It's, yeah, not much more to say about it than that. It's really just like, it's another kind of like preface where like, oh, you don't like how you look. It's okay. You have a hormone imbalance. And take this supplement and you will become conventionally thin and pretty. But that's
Mm-hmm.
not how it works,
We'll
which
get
we're
to
going to
that
talk about.
more. Yes. It's also sometimes called moon face. You may have heard that before. It is often used when talking about Cushing syndrome or Cushing disease. We'll discuss that more in a little bit too.
Mm-hmm.
The thing is, though, we'll say this a bunch today probably. If you have true moon face, or let's call it cortisol face, just for the sake of this argument, go to an endocrinologist. Don't take a random supplement if your face feels like it looks differently than it used to or than it should.
Yes. Seek professional medical advice.
If you think your hormones are out of whack, TikTok shop is not the place to seek
I'm
answers.
I'm so over TikTok shop right
I
now. It's
know.
ruining the platform.
It's honestly confusing too from a creator standpoint. I've tried looking at like what all it involves and I can't figure it out. And that's someone who like
Really?
has no, I can't figure it out. And I've been trying, and like I've been a content creator for like what, like 3 years now.
Uh-huh.
And I don't know what I'm doing. I can't figure it out. So if you don't see me posting about TikTok shops, not because I don't want to, I would love to make some money off some of the stuff. I wouldn't push this, obviously.
Yeah.
It's not because I'm better than that, because I'm not. I am not better than that. I just can't figure it out.
Yeah. I will note, I think I counted like 15 TikToks in a row today that all have TikTok shop associated with it. And so I
The
know they're just
minute I
pushing
see
it.
that little like
I
text
literally
box,
scroll away.
same.
So like I will support you if you would like to utilize TikTok shop.
Keep trying.
But that is the probably the only person. Otherwise, I'm like, this feels like the new like Amazon storefront where like
Yes.
everyone gets one and then they're promoting it any chance they get. I'm like,
Yeah.
do you actually like this or are you just trying to make money?
That's the thing too. And I will say, if I do figure it out and you guys see me selling stuff, I promise to only promote things that I trust and use myself.
We trust your morals.
Yes, thank you. Do not trust the girlies who say that this fruity vitamin powder is going to change your cortisol levels in your body.
No. Something else we'll note, besides just the supplements, is there's also the classic like avoid these foods to reduce your cortisol face, your cortisol tummy. And of course, like sugar and processed foods are going to be included in there because when are those not to blame?
Those are always to blame. Gluten sometimes too gets thrown in there, and dairy.
Another classics.
As you know, in your functional medicine days.
They cause everything to, you know. But
yeah,
I like your note here.
I was going to say, I made a note that it's interesting.
It made me giggle.
That the ... that I put, the drama in the outline.
Yeah.
I said, I'll read it verbatim since it is just so mysterious. Interesting that dieting is recommended when this only increases stress on the body, ...
Which, if you didn't know, cortisol measures like your stress level. So you're essentially just adding more stress to your stress levels.
Adding more cortisol to make your face even puffier, according to their train of thought. Okay, I guess it's a good segue to talk about like what cortisol exactly is.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like most people do correlate it as a stress hormone, which is true. It's the body's primary stress hormone, but we need some cortisol. Like it's a good thing to an extent.
Yes, it helps keep your body functioning, like when it does things.
Just like every other hormone we have. Like obviously we can have highs and lows of any hormone, but again, I feel like the word cortisol gets a really bad connotation to it, but we need it to survive.
Yes. And I'm not going to say this word, right?
Diurnal. I was waiting. I kind of wanted you to pronounce it. I'm not gonna lie. I was
about to say like diurnal.
Okay. I can explain it since I wrote it down. Yes. Unless you want to. I mean, feel free to go.
I know. The thing is, I just can't say the word.
Yeah.
So you say the word, but I can explain it.
Okay. I'll read the first.
Say it again.
I'll read the first part of it. So cortisol follows it's called diurnal rhythm, which just means that the levels change throughout the day. So they peak typically early in the morning and they decline throughout later in the day. So once you wake up, they start to go down.
Yes. So then like one of the things that correlate with this, with these supplements that keep getting sold, and like, it's a good thing also to ask your MLM babe about them, is do your dealer, your distributor, does this supplement, whatever it is, follow cortisol's diurnal rhythm? Rhythm, like, does it take it into account? And there's a 99% chance that it does not, because the supplement probably isn't even regulated or third-party tested.
Most of them are just like maybe ashwagandha's in there, but otherwise it's just like random vitamins and minerals.
Ashwagandha is all the rage right now.
We should do a podcast on that too, unfortunately. I thought about throwing it into the outline, but I was like, no, I don't feel like
we could do a whole thing on that, because it's also treating everything.
Yes, it is. But yeah, with this diurnal rhythm, again, like the people, the grifters, the cortisol grifters, we'll call them, they are basically just saying all cortisol bad. But that's not the case. Again, if it's like elevated all day long and not following this natural diurnal rhythm, that's not good. But the supplement, they're not even like considering that rhythm. They're just considering anti-cortisol. you know? So like
Mhm.
what Emily said, if you were to say like, hey, I'm just curious, does this supplement actually take into account like my body's natural flow of cortisol throughout the day? They'll have no idea what you're talking about. They just think that having cortisol in the body is not good for you and you should get rid of
Yeah.
it.
You must eliminate all of it,
Yeah.
but you do not need
You
to.
could also ask them if you would like to, get some egg on their face. Ask them how cortisol levels are tested. Chances are they won't know
Oh,
that either.
you said egg on your
Oh,
face. I'm like,
was
what?
my
Are
analogy
you?
too weird?
No, for a second, I thought it was somehow managing the cortisol. I'm like, are they going to start throwing like moisturizing eggs into your face? Is that the
Have you
next?
seen the poop face masks? The wellness girlies are using feces as face masks.
From who? Like their
I don't know
own?
if it's your own or if you buy it, but yes, it's a thing. I saw Jenna make
I
a stitch about it or something.
I don't even want to talk about that.
Okay, we
I
won't.
know.
I know. I'm like,
What?
do we even do a podcast? You guys already know what we're going to say about that.
Yeah, I feel like there's some things that just like maybe we don't need to bring light to it. And that's a common sense thing. Like,
You would think. You would
well,
think.
natural selection, as I say. So there are some things that I'm like, if you're gonna do that, maybe the consequences are something you should face.
That's so
Maybe.
true. And you know what? Even if it did like give you the most glowy glass skin in the world, I'm not putting shit on my face. It's not worth it.
I have such a fear, such a bizarre of like any type of like bodily fluid disease, like related to anything
Mm.
that I'm
Save that
like,
for the bonus question today.
like personal hygiene is something I take so seriously. So
Yeah.
there's no way I'm letting that anywhere near a very vulnerable place where there are multiple places like infection. Just that's the bare minimum that could
There's so
happen.
many
And
holes that your bacteria can get into there. That's like
yeah.
where most of the holes on your body are at.
I know.
Except for
Yeah,
the
so
one that the feces comes out of.
so it's like really, this feels like some human centipede like inspired,
Oh, it does.
like what.
And I know we said we wouldn't discuss it, yet here we are. I'm just also wondering, what is the collection process? Like, what do you put it in until you put it on your face?
Do you keep it in your freezer or your
What
fridge?
what do you like collecting it in? I have a lot of questions.
It
Or do
has
you
to.
buy it? Like, can you buy it on TikTok shop? Someone like, I don't know,
I
Kim
saw someone sold
Kardashian's.
air on TikTok Shop and it had 7 sales.
What?
And I'm like, 100% is on TikTok Shop. I was
I
so.
guarantee it is.
Oh yeah, Kim Kardashian probably could sell like hers for so much.
Oh
Actually, you
yeah.
know what? If I was famous, I would take advantage of that.
Oh yeah. Sell your underwear, your socks.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
It doesn't have to be your own. They wouldn't know.
Oh, no, you just like buy a new pair of socks and then just get them a little dirty and then sell them.
Just sell your dog's poop.
You could. I've got lots of it. Finn's a big boy. He's got big boy poops.
Yeah. Okay, we should go back to cortisol.
I'm sorry. I
Next.
had to bring that up because I just thought of it. Wellness culture knows no bounds. That's the point
Yeah.
of today's
Yeah.
episode.
Where are we?
I don't know.
Let's talk about maybe what should cause. Maybe what can cause it? Because like stress is something we talk all the time about how stress is not great for the body.
Yes.
And that's like kind of the driving argument for what is causing like people's face to be puffy or their like bellies to be puffy. But there are other things that cause this. Number one, genetics.
That's the biggest
Genetics, literally, you cannot control.
one. Like the bone structure of your face might just be like more round than others.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
And something else is like sodium intake. If you eat more salt, your body's going to hold on to that more. The fluid in your body will appear a little bit more bloated. So like you might notice this if you eat an especially salty meal, you'll feel a little bit more bloated or distended. And just because the salt is holding on to the fluid in your body a little bit more, and you're more round, and that's okay. Another thing is alcohol intake. Alcohol just naturally stresses out so many things in your body. So
It's literally a poison.
yeah. Allergies. Perfect time of year for this.
Yeah.
Allergies is something we can't really control. You could take things to kind of reduce the symptom reaction, but those occur quite regularly, especially seasonal. Hormonal changes, being on your period, giving birth, going from all those other hormones to no longer having to hormonally regulate a human being. Puberty.
Do you ever notice, based on what phase of your cycle you're in, that you feel like your face looks totally different?
I feel like my entire body changes.
Yes. I'm like, I don't know her.
Yeah. It's
And like
scary.
it goes beyond just like acne and stuff too. It's like the actual like shape of my face, I feel like looks different depending on what phase I'm in. It's craziness.
I don't enjoy my period. I think it has too much power over our lives, to be honest. Like, I'm not a fan.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's happening to people regularly. Hopefully, if you have regular periods, we don't want to be skipping periods, because then there is a different hormonal imbalance going on.
Which that can be a result of stress.
Yeah. So then you just have a different problem.
Different hormonal issue, yeah.
And then the last one is Cushing's syndrome, which Hannah has already mentioned. This can actually, you did mention it. Yes. I'm not imagining this. I was like, am I imagining this? No, you don't.
That was real life.
Which can naturally cause those elevated cortisol levels, but not everyone who has a puffy face has Cushing's syndrome. So please get tested. This is found through diagnostic testing with blood tests. Seek help from a medical professional, not online. We are not your individualized medical professional. Go to your primary care, go to anyone who can draw your blood. Seek help that way.
Yeah. Before we get into our action steps, one thing I forgot to say about cortisol, like the science of it, is along with us like naturally having it and like having it like go up and down, our body regulates that all on its own. BT dubs. If you have an endocrine disorder, yes, your body cannot regulate it on its own anymore. But for the average healthy person, your body can regulate cortisol levels. It's doing it every single day, all by itself. Your body can handle it. It has like all these different other hormones that interact with cortisol, and they all work together in perfect harmony to keep your body happy. Oh, and one more thing. Any kind of like acute stress is not going to cause cortisol face. If you have quote unquote cortisol face, that puffy face that we're relating to cortisol here, it's not going to be from just like one workout that you did that was really high intensity, or like, I don't know, a bad day at work or whatever. Now, if you're having like chronic stress all the time, could be leading to elevated cortisol, very likely. Or very important to note too, I think I'm going to say this later, but I'll say it now while I'm talking about it. Speaking of exercise, if your exercise is like very high intensity all the time, you're doing HIIT workouts 5 days a week. Yes, exercise is good for us, generally speaking, but that's a lot of stress on the body to do high intensity movement all the time. And that very well could be leading to that more chronically elevated cortisol as well.
I notice that a lot when I run a ton, and then I go and walk and I'm like, wow.
Well, I don't know. I've noticed there's a lot of factors, I think, playing a role in this, but like my skin is just like so much clearer and better now that I am not in the gym 7 days a week, like lifting crazy amounts of weight and doing all this cardio. More is not always better. Like I feel so much better now that I'm allowing for rest. I'm doing more like gentle movement.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think there's a lot of things playing a role in that too. Like I said, like not being in college anymore and having that stress.
that does help a lot.
That sucked. And also like under eating, I'm sure played a role in that too, which we'll get to that in a minute actually as well.
Mhm.
But all that to say, again, more movement is not always better.
So we have some tips for you guys though that are not pushing a supplement and linking our TikTok shop.
Much as I want to.
Yeah. For what you can do to manage your cortisol level. So I feel like you already mentioned the first one with like the gentle movement, joyful movement. Doing those like just reiterating what Hannah said, doing those like really high intensity, even sometimes moderate intensity workouts can increase cortisol in your body. Over exercising may not be as beneficial as you think. Give yourself some rest. It's okay to do low intensity workouts. Walking goes a long way. So like that's probably the first one.
Walking is so great. I love walking so much.
Yeah. And I feel like people associate exercise with like slimming down. So like from like a cortisol face and cortisol tummy standpoint, it like logically would make sense, but you would be surprised. Walking goes a long way. A leisurely bike ride can go a long way. I'd say people bike at different paces.
Yeah.
You don't have to do anything crazy. You don't have to go to Barry's 7 days a week. It might be hurting you a little bit. Your body probably doesn't want that.
Along with over exercising, of course, under eating will only make your body more stressed. We mentioned that dieting, of course, as a whole just makes us stressed out. Like that pursuit of fitness, pursuit of intentional weight loss is very stressful mentally, but also physically too. Our body likes to have regular food coming in. If it's not, it's going to react. So trying to eat consistently, I know it's cliche to say, but getting in your fruits, your veggies, your whole grains, your protein, quote unquote, balanced eating. I know cliche dietitian things, but trying to go more than like 4 or 5 hours without eating to kind of keep your body fed. So it's not getting stressed out, trying to figure out how to get the fuel that it needs without calories coming from the outside.
Yes. This is where my expertise and background does come into play. So some real world experience for you guys.
Wasn't all a waste.
Yeah. Our blood glucose levels or like play a huge role in managing like our insulin levels, which is another hormone. And insulin also plays a big role in management of cortisol. So the reason why you want to eat so regularly is because if you have that like blood sugar drop, it's naturally going to increase your cortisol levels. And like from a food standpoint, literally just eating will reduce your cortisol levels. There's no magic combination. There's no magic food. There's no magic supplement. It's literally just like eating something will bring them down. And it is that simple. And annoyingly it is. One of the biggest things that actually like played a part with people I worked with was like eating within that like 1 to 2 hour range in the morning because the cortisol levels are highest. And just like naturally, like they would like feel better. It's a little bit skeptical with how they were monitoring cortisol management. But from a scientific standpoint, just eating in the morning, I'm very much not a fan of intermittent fasting. If you guys did not pick that up already, that was like one of our first 10 episodes. Eating something in the morning goes a long ways, and then eating regularly, as literally annoying as it sounds.
Yeah. Again, like the fruits and the veggies, I was like, okay, they know this, but like seriously though, like just eat something. If you do have access to the good old fruits, veggies, whole grains, protein, even better. But like it really can be the simple stuff, the boring stuff. It does not need to be a weird supplement you get on TikTok shop.
I don't think I trust any supplement off a TikTok shop.
No.
That scares me. I'm like, is it laced with something? What?
It's just wild. Like we talk all the time about supplements on here and how the whole industry is just effed. But like That's a great example of it. Like you can get them on TikTok shop. Like literally anyone could be selling anything.
They're selling air and feces over there. Like it's not.
Run away. This is not a happy, good, safe place.
Except for Hannah's page, because she will. Yes. We might be biased, but
I think Hannah like on my little storefront, I think I have like granola butter and like this like hair slick back stick thing.
There we go. Very dangerous.
That's all I can figure out how to add. I don't know how to add products. It's a whole thing. It's very confusing and annoying. Okay, one last tip. Again, you had to see it coming. Sleep hygiene is going to play a big role in this too. Because again, cortisol has that diurnal rhythm. It really benefits from you having a consistent sleep schedule as much as possible. I know it's not always possible to like have the exact like on the nose, go to bed, wake up time. But as you can, being as consistent as possible can really help just let your body know when cortisol needs to rise and fall, essentially.
Oh. How annoying. Sleep regularly, give your body rest, and eat.
Wow. It's almost like our bodies aren't always that complex. They can be, again, if you have Cushing's or you have, I don't know, diabetes, and so you have a higher risk of having low blood sugars. Like there are lots of things that can make our cortisol out of whack and make this all more complex. But for, I would say probably 75% of you listening, what we just said will probably get the cortisol pretty well managed.
And at the end of the day, it's a supplement should not be.
That's the most important thing.
Our go-to thing.
And that goes into our bottom line. So if there's one thing you take away, it's this. Listen up. Before you buy any random supplement or product that is going to claim to cure all your problems, just be critical, ask questions, ask yourself, like, what is this person? How are they going to benefit from me buying this? Do they actually care about my health and my cortisol levels? Or do they just want to make a quick buck on TikTok shop?
Good questions to ask.
And seen.
I think that's that. I think at the end of the day, if your face is a little puffy, your tummy is puffy, something's not wrong with you.
Yeah, I mean, like speaking of like the tummy, I guess we didn't go into that a whole lot specifically, but like if you're a little bloated, that's normal.
Yeah. If you are also not like thin, there's nothing wrong with that either.
Yeah.
So, and all these people are like, yeah, it's literally just people being like, there's something wrong with you. Not because of your weight, but like also because now you look like this.
You don't meet the thin ideal, and therefore you need this as your solution. And I will benefit by making money off of it. Thank you very much.
Well, spooky world out there.
Spooky world, even on TikTok, it should be a place for fun and just posting your outfit videos. But no, there are horrors.
No, there's too many TikTok shops and I'm over it.
I know. I actually, all jokes aside, probably won't actually end up posting on TikTok
I kind of hope you don't, because I would prefer you to just refer to your Amazon storefront.
It's so much easier. There's just so many things to link and share, and it's too much from a consumer standpoint and a creator standpoint.
I know like Amazon obviously is not super ethical or great either.
Yeah.
But the fact that it's like getting shoved in your face on TikTok, I'm like, well,
right, like you're choosing to go to Amazon. Like that's something you can choose to do if you want to go do some shopping. But on TikTok, you're there to like, again, have a good time, watch someone's day in the life. I don't want to buy their cortisol powder.
No. All right.
The horrors.
Scary world.
Speaking of, we're going to discuss our, we'll call them, I don't know, like micro horrors, silly things that stress us out. That's going to be our topic today.
Cortisol in somehow. Our micro cortisol stressors. Our micro or cortisol triggers. Something.
We'll think of it.
Something along those lines.
We're really doing good at tying it in.
Yeah. Thanks for listening today, guys. We'll see you next week.
Bye, guys.